It's a sunny Saturday evening in Port Melbourne for Saturday night NPL Victoria action. It is 5th placed Port Melbourne Sharks hosting last placed Moreland City on NPL tonight on YouTube. Kay Lucas with you here at JL Murphy Reserve, a quite sunny but very blustery JL Murphy Reserve. You can see the teams just coming out onto the pitch now. Port Melbourne clad in their traditional red and blue strip, and Moreland City in the white away strip. This is the first game on this Saturday. We had 2 games last night, 2 tonight and 2 tomorrow to finish round 3 of the competition. And we'll wait to see if Moreland City can get themselves off the foot of the table. They have not scored a point, they have not scored a goal, and they are currently bringing up the rear in the competition this season, while Port Melbourne, there was a bit of a question mark over them coming into the year. They had a lot of turnover in the playing group as well as the coaching staff in the off-season, but they silenced a few doubters last week with an impressive 2-1 win away to Melbourne Knights, and they'll be looking to build on that form here this evening. Both teams out on the pitch, as you can see. Substitutes have come to the bench, and we're not far from a kick-off here. It is Yanis Zizis, the referee, who will get us underway. Let's go through the starting lineups quickly. And yes, let's go through the starting lineups quickly. Shalomanov Trenkova is in goal for the Sharks. Amadou Kamis is at the back. Also Daniel Edwards, Charlie Leach in midfield, Alex Baker, Jackson Courtney Perkins, Christian Bombachi, the skipper, Fraser Dunlop, Lucas Burns up top, Maker alongside him, and Emmanuel Peters. Whilst for the visitors, Alex Condolian is the ever-present between the sticks. Arob Kerr is at the back. Fletcher Fulton's back in the side this week. Corey Thomas, the skipper. Jose Aranchiba, the Chilean, is in the lineup up top. Apai Yucano, the veteran, also alongside him, as is Matt Spall. Dean Waters in midfield. Diego Cuba in midfield. Ali Newman in midfield also, and Aidan Croucher. So that is the starting lineup for Moreland City. And we've got the starting lineup for Port Melbourne too, and the players are in positions and we're about to get underway. And Yanis Zizis does blow the whistle, and it is Moreland City going with a very stiff breeze to their back in this first half. They are going to the right of your screen, or the northern end of JL Murphy Reserve, and the home side are going into the breeze, or the secondary pitch end, the left-hand side of your screen. And as you could maybe see there, the ball is really holding up in this breeze, which is whipping in off Port Phillip Bay. So that could have an early impact on proceedings here, as Emmanuel Peters gets involved straight into the breeze. Very tricky customer, and he's got some teammates there in support, looking to make a fast start here, the Sharks. It's Peters near the byline. Got Cummins watching over him. And now a cross into the box, and an early sighter there for the Sharks. Flicked on by Jackson Courtney Perkins, and he wasn't far away. Less than 60 seconds in, and Jackson Courtney Perkins, who's the highest scorer for the Sharks from last season, who's still at the club. Nearly opened his account for 2024 there. They've still got it in the right area of the pitch, though, the Sharks. There's an attempted turn there by Peters. Didn't quite come off. And now Moreland will look to come away. Only momentarily, though. It's a free kick, or a throw rather, for Port Melbourne. Camus. Leach. Here's Courtney Perkins. Looks like he had a bit of a shirt tug there. It doesn't worry him. He keeps going. And now he's into the Moreland half. Newman Ailey there with the header for Moreland City. Came over from North Sunshine in the off-season, and he has the throw here. And they've turned it over in a bad position, Moreland City, and here come the Sharks on the move. Into the area now, a driving run, and a flick across, and it's an opening goal. After just 2.5 minutes here at JL Murphy Reserve, And it's been flicked in by that man, Jackson Courtney Perkins. He went very close moments ago, but he was never missing that one. And Moreland City stare up from the foot of the table. The rest of the teams draw further away after just 2.5 minutes here at JL Murphy Reserve. It is Port Melbourne 1, Moreland City 0. Well, that is just the start that David Ostocic and his team did not want. Looking to open their account for the season and get their campaign belatedly underway, and they cop a goal with the referee's opening whistle still ringing in the air. So plenty of work to do here for the visitors. It's a terrific driving run there to help set up that goal for Courtney Perkins by Fraser Dunlop down the clubroom side. Raced into the area and really put it on a platter there for Courtney Perkins to put it away. Here's Leach in midfield. And he sends it out wide. And Ukano will be first there. Api Ukano looking to hit back here, Moreland City, and they'll need better deliveries than that. They go straight out of play. In fact, it looks like it's come off a Port Melbourne player. From this angle, it looked like it was a bit of a miss kick by Ukano, but the referee's closer than me, so it's a corner here for Moreland. So they will have an opportunity to get a quick reply. That's a good delivery in too, and it's headed away by Kamis. Still haven't cleared their lines though, the home side. Cuba can't quite keep it in though, and it's a goal kick this time for Shalamanov-Trinkova. Ilya Shalamanov-Trinkova, been very impressive at the back so far this season for the Sharks, coming down from Queensland. Only conceded the 1 goal through 2 games. So it started off with a 0-0 draw, Port Melbourne against St Albans, and then had an impressive 3-1 win, not 2-1 as I said, 3-1 win over Melbourne Knights at Summers Street last week. And early stages here, they certainly look like they're going to build on that. Moreland City coming off a 1-0 loss to South Melbourne, where they were down to 10 men for much of that match. Their skipper, Michael Tsitsides, was sent off and he's missing tonight. And it's a ball over the top here, opening up again for Port Melbourne, looking to double their money early on. But a cool head at the back there by the skipper, Corey. for City. Now Ukano down the channel. This is promising again. Spall, who's in the middle. Aaron Sibia following up. He couldn't quite reach it. Now Fulton and Croucher to keep the pressure on. Croucher just overhit that touch. He got there in time, but couldn't get much behind the attempted cross, and it's out of play. Again, it's this right-hand side for Moreland City is proving very fruitful for them. And they work it down here again. It'll be Croucher. He'll send the ball in. Ukano's on the edge of the 6-yard box, and his radar is well off. Shalamanov Trinkova wraps his hands around it. Maker to Edwards. Neil Edwards, the Kiwi, New Zealander. Over to Baker. Came to the club from Dandenong Thunder. And Courtney Perkins. Along with the skipper, Bombachi. It's just about the only player remaining from the side. Played here last season under Adam Pittick. Courtney Perkins trying to regain a bit of control here, Port Melbourne, as we enter the latter part of this first half. As I mentioned earlier, these two teams last met on the 3rd of June last year at CB Smith, and it was a 5-0 win for Port Melbourne on that occasion. Second biggest ever loss, or second biggest loss for Moreland City last season, and the third biggest win ever for Port Melbourne in the NPL, as Condolian has to get it away. And the goal scorers on that occasion were Ian Cello, Jock and Mills, George Mills, and all three of those players have since departed JL Murphy Reserve. And Chris Duggan, their leading scorer last season, is also no longer here. So it has been a fair bit of turnover, but so far it looks like the additions they've brought in have ably replaced those who have left. They're having a tougher time of it than maybe expected here in this first half, though. As there's a stoppage. It's Aaron Sibia there who's got to rearrange his shin pads. He's back up and going now. Last time the two teams met here at JL Murphy, that actually finished 1-1, so the same score as now. Duggan on the score sheet for the Sharks, and Christian Theodoropoulos was the goal scorer for Moreland City, and he's no longer with them either, so not really too many historical threads between the clubs, as Peters goes for goal and Condolian gets back in time to save his blushes. Dear oh dear. Alex Condolian just a bit too lazy there and was very nearly embarrassed, and now it's back at the other end for City. Camus. Courtney Perkins on the turn, but he goes to ground. It's a foul. Free kick for the Sharks. It's been an eventful first half an hour or so, 28 minutes. Goals, mix-ups, goalkeeping errors, very nearly another goalkeeping error there. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on YouTube. Don't go anywhere, because if the first half an hour is any guide, we've got plenty more entertainment to come. Here's Bombachi, the skipper now. They work it down the far side. Peters, perilously close to scoring moments ago. He won't score here. He has to go back to Bombachi. Good play there by Ailey, though. A risky pass, but Thomas got it away. Down the middle. All the way back to the keeper. Clad in orange tonight. Shalamanov Trinkova. Leach, West Australian originally. Here he is again to Courtney Perkins. And it opens up now for Edwards. This is promising. Courtney Perkins kept running. He tried to have a shot. Body's got in the way. And now it's Arob Kerr who clears the lines for Moreland City. And then Spall is clattered into. He goes to ground. And Yanis Zizis somewhat belatedly blows the whistle. And it looks like he might have a bit more work to do here, the referee. Spall is staying down. In fact, he looks in a bit of trouble, Matt Spall. And it's a yellow card for the skipper, Christian Bombacci, who caught Spall and sent him flying. And now he's prostrate on the ground, writhing in pain. It looks like his lower back is where he's hurt. So we wish all the best for him. The physio's with him now. We have a bit of a spell in what's been a pretty frenetic first half here at JL Murphy. I think everyone needs to take a deep breath. Spall's up on his feet now, so that's good to see. Doesn't look like there's any substitutes being readied. Moreland substitutes have been warming up, but there's not one in particular who's been called out to get ready to come on. So looks like Matt Spall is going to soldier on, though he is limping pretty heavily by the looks of things. He's going to try and run it out. He looks very uncomfortable at the moment, I've got to say. We'll see if he can get back up to full speed as play gets back underway. Croucher, been one of their best in this first half. And Edwards almost got the assistant referee in a place where he would prefer not to be hit. Thankfully, he got out of the way in time, and it's another corner here for Moreland City. Cuba to take them once again. He's had plenty of work to do. That's another good delivery in, and again it clean bowls everyone. Maker back there. And they look to go on the break now. It's Burns putting the afterburners on for Port Melbourne. He's got Peters in the centre. Cuts inside. He's going himself, Burns. And now he tumbles down, and it's a free kick. Terrific run there by the former Western United player, Lucas Burns. From one end of JL Murphy to the other. And now it's a set piece for the home side. Pretty inviting territory too. Just outside the D, pretty much directly in front of goal. So the wall is being marched back just inside the area. Looks like it's a 5-man wall for Moreland City, and it's Courtney Perkins and Edwards who are standing over it for the Sharks. 34 minutes gone. Can they take the lead again? It's Edwards straight into the wall. He might go again here. And again he's blocked. Good defensive work by the visitors on that occasion, but they have more defending to do here. As Port Melbourne attempt to recycle the ball, but Edwards sends it out of play. Haley looked as though he lost his grip on the ball as he tried to throw it there, and it went nowhere. So now it's a throw for the Sharks. Camus. Baker back to Camus. Maker. Here's Peters on the turn. Nice movement this from Port Melbourne, and they work it out wide, and they'll look to send the cross in. Fraser Dunlap. Courtney Perkins just cushioned the header. There was no one there to meet it though. And now it's Moreland City coming away. End-to-end stuff here as we near half-time, and it's Fulton. He slaloms past Maker. Maker is still going, and now he's brought down by Camus. It looked a bit crude, but the referee says okay. And now it's Port Melbourne's turn. Courtney Perkins. Croucher does well to get in the way and see it out of play. Just seemed to misjudge that clearance. Maybe the sun got in his eyes. And a throw here for Moreland City, and it's Aaron Shibia who has it. Now back to Ukano, promising to the back post. Header from Small! And it's hacked off the line by Camus. It's gone straight up in the air, and like an outfielder in cricket, Shalamanov Trinkova caught it, but he was out of play, and it looks like it might be a corner. Another corner here for Moreland City. Matt Spall, who looked like he might have had to come off moments ago, very nearly put his side in front there. He might have an opportunity here too. It's yet another corner for the visitors, this time from the far side. 37 minutes gone. Cuba, again a good delivery to the back post, Fulton, and now Aaron Chibia to the far post. Small is there, somehow they don't get it in. Oh, they are living dangerously, Port Melbourne, and they're still scrambling at the back as Fulton sends his shot over the top. How have they not gone in front here, Moreland City? And still the Sharks have more defending to do. And they can thank their lucky stars they are not in arrears here. Fletcher Fulton had a number of opportunities, so did Matt Spall. And they have another corner here. Cuba. And Shalamanov Trinkova slaps it away, but Cuba is there to meet it, and he'll send it back in. And now it's Bombachi with an acrobatic clearance. They're under siege all of a sudden here, Port Melbourne. It's been end-to-end for the previous 10 minutes or so, but certainly Moreland City finishing this half the stronger. How they would love to go into half-time with their noses in front. Cuba to the near post. Arup Kerr trying to keep the pressure on. Gets it out to Cuba. He's blocked this time though. And they retreat. And Port Melbourne get a bit of breathing space. Edwards to take the throw right into the teeth of this breeze. And he sends it straight out of play in front of his own bench. And it'll be Croucher to take the throw here for Moreland City towards Aaron Chibia. But he's dispossessed by Maker, and now they can go on the break here, the home side. Can they push their noses in front? Burns rides a challenge. Can't quite win the second one though. Now pushing up a bit high now though, the Sharks, and here's Camus as we cross 40 minutes. What's been an exhilarating first half. Thrills and spills all over the place, and there's a spill here for Leach, who's been collected, and he gets a free kick for his team. He's a bit sore, and looks like Cuba's down behind play for Moreland City as well, so both teams walking wounded a bit. It's been that sort of game, end to end, and some pretty rugged challenges at times as well. A few players sporting bruises and scratches. They'll be soothed though if the team can go in front here. It's Port Melbourne with a chance now. Edwards again, he's a long way out, but there's plenty of targets as he swings it in on the breeze. Courtney Perkins tried to get there, was out positioned. Now Fulton. Aaron Chibia. Leach just stole it from underneath his nose. He has it again, Leach. Now Dunlop, who's been handy down that far side. Set up the first goal for Port Melbourne as they come in again. They bring it away here. Moreland City through Waters, who went to ground, was fouled, and they take the free kick quickly, and Fulton won't quite get there in time. Right idea, not quite the right execution, and Fletcher Fulton knows that was an opportunity that went begging. It's his goal on 14 minutes that brought Moreland City back level, their first goal of the season. As we head towards half-time, it has them right in this game. Waters working in tight spaces, going to ground. The referee says play on though, and Port Melbourne do just that. Peters is offside. The Ghanaian-born player came to Port Melbourne from Dandy City. Worked hard in this first half, holding the ball up. Very nearly scored himself as Fulton does very well to get the cross across, and Ukano's there, so too Aaron Chibia from Moreland. Ukano again to the byline. Again, Port Melbourne not looking very convincing at all, dealing with crosses, and they might have to do so again here. As Moreland City wind up with another ball in. Croucher. Now Cuba. Cuba. That's another ball in for Ukano. Again, he's just sent the ball well wide of the goal. He's done it a few times, Appy Ukano, today. And now it's Spall. Spall for Moreland City! All the way across in front of the Port Melbourne goal and out for a goal kick. And they'll be wondering how they're not in front here, the visitors. Certainly had the more chances to add to their goal than Port Melbourne have. Given the home side will have this breeze in the second half, they may be missed opportunities that Moreland City are left to rue. Courtney Perkins, that got him by surprise. And then he slipped over the ball, and Fulton, well, he thought he was going to take the throw. Croucher does instead. Fulton's been just about the best player on the pitch. Croucher's been good too. They have combined brilliantly down this right-hand side for Moreland City. Cuba. Croucher. They concede a foul here at Moreland City. 1 minute of stoppage time to go. Both coaches will be preparing their team talks. A very different one than what David Ostojic has had to say so far this season. His team have at least got a goal. They probably should have more. They've got some defending to do here, though, as Port Melbourne come forward again. Peters couldn't quite control it. Burns. Spall, who has recovered from that earlier knock. Bombachi. Fulton once again. And that ricochets off Camus. And it will be yet another Moreland City corner to end this half. They have racked them up from either side. They've had a welter of set pieces, the visitors. Can they make what will probably be the last one count? They had not scored a goal coming into this game. They've got one. They really should have more. Can they get a second to have the lead at half-time? It's Cuba to take it once again. To the back post. Camus heads away. The skipper, Thomas! Went for goal, but put it over the top, and he shouts in frustration, Corey Thomas. But he will go into half-time, and his teammates will go into half-time feeling much better about things than in the previous two games this season, because they've got a goal, Moreland City. They are off the mark for 2024. It was a goal from Fletcher Fulton on 14 minutes after Ilya Shalamanov-Trinkova couldn't quite control the ball. He lost his grip on it, and Fulton managed to steal it and then pass it into the open net. That was the equaliser for Moreland City after Jackson Courtney Perkins opened the scoring after just 2.5 minutes. A close range finish after a good cross and good build-up work by Fraser Dunlop. It's a fascinating game. It's an action-packed game. We hope you're enjoying it on YouTube. I'm enjoying it here, calling it, and I'm going to have a break, and we'll be back with you in about 15 minutes here at JL Murphy Reserve, where at halftime it is Port Melbourne 1, Moreland City 1. Port Melbourne, of course, in the blue and red, and Moreland City in the white with the, I think it's grey or black stripes, but predominantly white. And they're going to the left of your screen and into the breeze. And they'll be hoping to not just get their first point of the season, but given they've got a goal and they are at level pegging at half time, maybe their first win too. But they've got some defending to do here early on. Not coming off there for Courtney Perkins, the goal scorer for Port Melbourne, but comes out towards Dunlop, the man who made the goal for him, Fraser Dunlop. Ailey right with him for Moreland City. And it's an early throw here for the Sharks. No changes at the half, at least that we can see. Both David Ostojic and Nick Marinos content to let the same 11s go out there. Here's Maker, driving forward with those long legs out towards Burns. And that's a good first time cross, and Peter's got a brow to it and couldn't quite direct it towards goal. But as they did in the first half, Port Melbourne making a fast start. They nearly scored inside the first minute in the first half through Courtney Perkins, but he didn't have to wait too much longer before he did score. Let's see if they can do the same thing here in the second half, as it looks like Nick Marinos is already readying substitutes. As Peters again holds the ball up, and he's got help out wide in Burns. Now Dunlap, this is promising. Dunlap goes for goal and ruffles the side netting. And it's fair to say his coach on the bench below us is not impressed. So we're only 2.5 minutes into this second half, but already it looks like Port Melbourne are going to make a change. To see who that is, but they are readying below us as Thomas here for Moreland City. Ailey. Now Cuba getting involved. Ailey, he goes to ground, and Burns makes the most of it. They're on the move again here, the Sharks. This is a good start to the second half. Leach. Edwards. Now Courtney Perkins to the byline. Back out towards Edwards. Moreland City get numbers back. Kerr can't clear his lines though. And it is all the Sharks in the opening exchanges of this second half. That breeze is certainly making an impact out there. You can see with how dominant Port Melbourne have been since they've had it at their backs. So they are making a change here, and very helpfully for a commentator, they're bringing on a player who's not on the team sheet. Number 17, Brooks. Thankfully, Port Melbourne do have names on the back of their shirts, so Brooks comes in to the fray, and it looks like the goal scorer, Jackson Courtney Perkins, who has come off, so he won't be adding to his one goal. Not sure if that is due to an injury. It seems odd to make a change so close after half time. Bombachi. Baker. Camus against his old club. He's had a lot of the ball today. Aminom Canis, one of their goal scorers last week in their 3-1 win over Melbourne Knights. Lucas Burns and Maker, the other two goal scorers. He's Leach down the channel. It ricochets into the path of Edwards, but he won't get there in time. But it's out for another corner. They barely had any in the first half, Port Melbourne. But now this is second or third corner they've had in the first few minutes of the second half from the far side. Maker and Camus on the far side of the area As the ball comes in and Condolian palms it away. Did it go over the line? Bombashi seemed to think it did, or at least protested as much. Play goes on. And now Brooks with the fresh legs, his first touch. Back to Dunlop. And all the way back to Shalomanov Trenkova. Kate Lucas with you on YouTube TV. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. One of two games in NPL Victoria tonight. The other one, Dandenong Thunder hosting Heidelberg. As Baker is collected there by Cuba, and Cuba is absolutely beside himself that that's been given as a foul. And he'd want to watch himself because Jonas Zizis might decide to put him in the book as well. He was very upset there, the Moreland City midfielder. Now Camus. Here's Burns, fleet of foot. Still he's going, Burns. He might have a shot here. He's gone right across JL Murphy Reserve. Now to Dunlop. Bombachi and Baker. Back to Bombachi. Peters at the back post. He hangs it up for him. Kerr there to try and head it away for Moreland City, who haven't looked all that convincing on the occasions when they have had to defend crosses. They're going to have to get used to it in this second half because they're going to start reining in. Here's Brooks now. And Brooks, he goes for the shot! And what a shot! Oh, that is something. Well, why wouldn't you bring him on if he can score goals like that? Brooks, I thought he was going to go for a cross. He said, no, I'm putting this in the top corner, and that he did. And Port Melbourne are back in front here, and how? 52 minutes played. It's Port Melbourne 2, Moreland City 1, and that is one of the better goals you will see this season. An absolute tracer bullet from Brooks. And now we wait to see the effect that has had on Moreland City. Will that take a bit of the wind out of their sails? They know they should probably have gone into half-time in front. They had ample opportunities. Instead, they went in level pegging, and now, thanks to that wonder goal from Brooks, they are behind. Back to square one. Here's Brooks winning the header. It's out of play. Dunlop. Peters led his man under the ball. Nice work by Peters. Kerr right with him. And eventually it's given a goal kick. So we can't tell you too much more about the goal scorer because, as we mentioned before, his name wasn't on the team sheet. But we'll certainly be hearing about him through the week after that effort. Meanwhile, Moreland City are going to make their first change, and it's Curtis Miley, the Canadian-born Tasmanian, who's come on. It's a bit of a geography lesson from Canada to Tasmania. Played with Clarence Zebras last season on the eastern shore of Hobart. They play at Wentworth Park, just down the road from Bellreeve Oval, the cricket ground. Here's Burns now for Port Melbourne. They've really got their dander up. Burns, he goes for home. And that was always going wide. But all of a sudden, the tenor of this game has really changed. In the sense that Moreland City could be in for quite a difficult second half here against an opponent whose confidence is up and who've got the breeze at their backs. And now it's another corner. Floodlights beginning to take effect, and shadows have crossed the playing field. Sunny and clear evening, but still very windy as Burns sends in the cross. again, as they have done quite a few times tonight, it clears the pack and goes all the way through. Quite a few Moreland City corners did that. So have Port Melbourne's, as Leach cops one where no one wants to get one. And he is in a bit of trouble, Charlie Leach, right in front of his bench. Jonas Scissors comes over. Fortunately, he is very close to the bench, so if they decide to make a sub, he doesn't have to go too far, Charlie Leach. Looks like he is going to soldier on. So it's Ailey with the throw. Maker won the header. Spall. Ailey again. He's hurried off the football by Peters. Kerr there in support though. Again, you can see the ball holding up in that breeze. And it falls right at the feet of Burns, who's really having an impact now. Dunlop over towards Peters. Done a power of work up front tonight, Peters, and now he's going down the byline. Kerr right with him. They get their legs in a tangle, those two. Both tall, lanky players. And that's gone out for what looks to be another corner. It's raining in corners now from Port Melbourne. We've had a lot of corners this evening from both clubs, but neither team has actually scored from one yet. Maybe Port Melbourne can change that here. It's Edwards. Gets right under it. And this is difficult for Condolian, who almost carries it into his own goal. But he managed to have a strong pair of hands in the end, Alex Condolian. Waters now. Can they work it up the pitch? Moreland City, they've hardly been inside Port Melbourne's half since the break. Long ball down the channel, but Aaron Sibia can't reach it. It will be Edwards with the throw. Looks like it was Aidan Croucher who was removed for Moreland City when Curtis Miley came on. And here come Port through Dunlop. And that's a pretty crude foul there by Spall. Port Melbourne bench pleading for a yellow card. Jonas Scissors isn't interested. But Matt Spall didn't exactly hide his intentions there. Goal kick for Condolian. Might wait for a bit of a drop in the breeze so he can get it maybe up past halfway. He has a go anyway. It sits up in the centre circle for Fulton. Peters did well with the outstretched boot down towards Brooks. We know what he can do from this range. He's on the other side now to where he scored from. And he lifts it into the area. Thomas heads it away, but not far enough. Burns. Edwards. Baker, very high line here from Port Melbourne. They're really pushing up. They want to put this game away. Bombachi just overcooked that pass though. Almost an hour gone at JL Murphy Reserve. It is Port Melbourne 2, Moreland City 1. Courtney Perkins, and then his replacement Brooks with the goals, the second of which was a sensational one. And meanwhile, Brooks, the aforementioned Brooks, has gone into the book for a pretty slack challenge there on Cuba. So he's made an impact since coming on, scoring a worldie and then going into Jonas Scissors' book. And the other goal scorer tonight, the goal scorer for Moreland City, the first of the season for them, was Fletcher Fulton on 14 minutes. So that's the tail of the tape so far. The home side in front, as most people expected they would be. But Moreland City still very much in this as they go against the breeze. Up inside the area now, Fulton coming in. The keeper came out to meet it. And it's a yellow card for Fulton, who collected Shemalanov Trinkova on the way through. Those two have a bit of history from the first half. Fulton's goal came from a contact with the keeper who lost the ball, but he wasn't losing that one. But he did cop a bit on the way through. Shemalanov Trinkova. Looks like he might have a nice old bruise in the morning. It's really the first foray forward they've had so far in this half, Moreland City. That breeze has not dropped at all, really, since before the start of the game. And the keeper uses it to get it well into the Moreland City half here. Cuba. Headed back by Camus. Cuba again. Bit of aerial ping pong. Maker does well. Leach now Burns. He's been really good. He goes for goalie. We saw the keeper off his line, and Condolian got back to keep it out. Burns knew he had the breeze at his back. He saw the keeper off his line and he chanced his arm, and he very nearly scored a goal which would have even topped Brooks's effort earlier on. It's been one of those games. We saw Peters in the first half. He saw Condolian off his line too and went for it, and Condolian just got there. But that might convince the Moreland City keeper to stay at home. He's got a corner to deal with now. Edwards. That's right to the back post. Maker is there, so too Camus. And it's come off Camus. And it's Condolian who will have the goal kick. And his heart will probably still be racing after that Lucas Burns effort. That's not a great clearance. Puts Miley under pressure. And the substitute puts it out of play. Port Melbourne currently 5th. Whilst Moreland City, as we've mentioned, are currently last. So 3 points very valuable for both, but for very different reasons. A point would be good for Moreland City, just anything to get them going. But they're facing another defeat here as a rare movement forward is knocked away by Baker, but he does concede a throw. Here's Ailey. Waters. Brooks interrupts, but Cuba manages to win back possession, then lose it, and now Leach and Burns. He's really gone up a level or two in this second half. Burns, as he's brought down here. Corey Thomas with the body check, and it'll be a free kick here for Port Melbourne, whose coaches asking the fourth official below me why that wasn't a yellow card. And it's probably a worthy question, to be honest. It's not a yellow card, but it is a free kick. And another set piece for Port Melbourne. After a tricky first half, they've got themselves back on top. And now they're really looking to finish Moreland City off. Peters in the area. Camus there too. It goes all the way and just past the upright. Nick Marinos below us. He knew how close that was. Whistled all the way through the pack of players around the 6-yard box and just on the wrong side of the upright. The breeze must be having an effect on that, because we've seen corners and free kicks tonight do that repeatedly, just players misjudging it and letting the ball bounce all the way through. And here comes Brooks. Brooks driving through the middle, has Dunlap in support, he can shoot, and he puts it over the top. It was teed up nicely for him, Fraser Dunlop, and he hit it pretty well too. He just got slightly under it and it went over the crossbar. But they're just hanging on at the moment, Moreland City. Since a knockout blow mightn't be far off here from Port Melbourne. They're coming forward again. Peters, Burns coming in. Cuba does well though. Can they go on the break here, the visitors? Aaron Chibia. Good intercept by Dunlop to just take the momentum out of that move. And we're going to see a double change now from David Ostojic. You can sense this game slipping away, so he's bringing some fresh legs on. Matt Spall is coming off. Copped a heavy knock in the first half, though he did go close to scoring in the first half as well, but his night is done. So too Dean Waters, the Irishman, he's off. And coming on is Trudiar Tarjath and Kasra Karamad. So Karamad and Tarjath on. And also a change here for Port Melbourne. Dane Milanovic comes on and Maker makes way. So fresh legs for both sides. As we are into the final half hour here. It's Ailey with the throw. Cuba, Queenslander. Number of Queenslanders out there tonight. Here's Dunlap. Ailey with a good challenge on him though. He punts it forward. Ukano will try and hold it up and wait for his teammates to arrive, but Camus is having none of it. That just bounced a little bit too high for Burns, who's not the tallest man, and he couldn't quite head that back in play. So there's a throw right below us. Ailey with it. Aaron Chibia. Ailey, nice footwork down the touchline. And it falls for the substitute, Karamad. Spreads it out wide to his fellow substitute in Tarjath. Ball across. And Camus did well to intercept. And it's a corner at the other end. Might be the first for tonight. A corner at the southern end of JL Murphy Reserve. You can see the junior teams warming up behind them on the secondary pitch here. It's Cuba to take it. Can they draw level again, the visitors? Not the greatest of deliveries, and it's out for a goal kick this time. And an opportunity goes missing for Moreland City. I wonder how many more they'll get, given the way this second half has gone. Just over 20 minutes to play at JL Murphy Reserve. Live on YouTube, Kate Lucas with you. Port Melbourne looking for their second win in a row. Moreland City looking for their first points, either 1 or 3 of the season. Former is looking much more likely at the moment as Brooks gets it down towards Peters. Now Burns. Has Dunlap out wide, he decides against that and sends it into the 6-yard area where Kerr has a tricky attempted clearance, and Condolian eventually cleans up. Here's Tarjath, the substitute. That's a lovely ball. The flag's down. Ukano. Shot is blocked. He'll recover though. Who's there in support? All the way back to Cuba. Tried to be a bit cute. He might have been better advised to shoot there, Diego Cuba. But this is better from the visitors. Ailey, who's been one of their better players. He muscles his way in front of Brooks. Ailey tries to curl it in and just over the crossbar. That would have been some goal from Nauman Ailey. Used the breeze beautifully to curl the ball. Started it out on the right-hand side and it bent back beautifully, but just over the crossbar. But it is out for another corner. Cuba to take it. He spoons it high into the air. Bombachi got it away, but now a shot on the turn. Karamad rather, with the flying shot at goal there, and it just floated wide. And suddenly the tide has turned back in favour of the visitors here, who have another corner. Cuba. Good delivery again. The keeper can't clear. Pinballing around. Thomas is there. Cuba. Kerr. Cuba. Another good delivery. Ukano getting involved. Sorry, it's Tarjath getting involved. The substitute, he was a little too over-enthusiastic. And it's another goal kick. And the pressure is relieved for Port Melbourne. Shalamanov Trinkova is a bit sore again. Bombachi. Now Dunlap. Fulton. Been a bit quieter in this second half after being just about the best player on the pitch in the first. Oh, and Thomas hasn't managed to clear that, and Peters now onto Dunlap. Good ball across the area. They're queuing up. No one can quite get on the end of it, and now it's Tarjath who will come away from deep in defence. He tries to turn it into attack. Up into the Port area half now. Karamad with a driving run out towards Ukano. Good break this by Moreland City. Karamad again. Across the area, Tarjath. Now Aaron Chibia. No one can get boot to ball. And it's out for a throw. Port Melbourne very nearly caught on the break there. And a yellow card as well for the Port Melbourne substitute, Milanovic. So the tempo's really lifted here again after it looked as though the game was sort of going solidly in Port Melbourne's direction. The last 5 minutes or so, Moreland City have tilted it back their way. They can tilt it back much further their way with a goal to get them back on level terms. It's Cuba with another delivery. And again, it skims all the way over to the opposite side of the field, but it is a throw for the visitors. Ailey went so close to scoring a great goal moments ago. Fulton just can't quite keep it in. Next week, Port Melbourne travel up north to Hume City next Saturday night. Whilst Moreland City, they have probably the toughest task in NPL football in Victoria. They go to Avenger Park to take on the reigning premiers Avondale. That's not the sort of place you want to go to when you start the season with 3 straight defeats, and that's what's facing them at the moment if they can't get something out of this game. They're certainly having a go though. You can't question their effort. They've got a free kick here. Thomas. Dunlop. Deep in defence. Been one of their better players so far tonight. Not a great ball though. Karamad, he's given them something in midfield since coming on. Former Melbourne City junior. Here's Milanovic. Bit of scrappy football by both teams in midfield. It's like they've forgotten who their teammates are. They're giving it away so much, but Fulton's got it now. He's going the right way into the area. Fletcher Fulton went to ground and he's holding his leg. And now he's smacking the turf in frustration. I don't think he's injured. He's just disappointed that opportunity slipped him by. It's his goal that keeps them in with a chance here, though. Fletcher Fulton. That was on 14 minutes. As I've said, they've had plenty of opportunities throughout the rest of the first half to add to it, but couldn't do so. And now into the breeze, they're really up against it, but they're certainly trying. And it's Fulton again. Who arrives in the middle for him? No one in particular. It was too high for anyone. And it's out again. More movement on the Port Melbourne bench. Two more substitutes coming on for them. Looks like Jesse Barber will enter the fray. Also, Andrew Messeruni. And Lucas Burns will be coming off. He's been terrific tonight, particularly in this second half. Actually, it's a triple change for Port Melbourne. Daniel Cutler coming on too. So Cutler's coming on. Lucas Burns is off. Dunlop is off. Messeruni is on. Barber's on, and Peters is off. And just for good measure, Moreland City are going to make a change too. And it's Fletcher Fulton who comes off for a well-earned rest. He's been terrific tonight, the goal scorer. And replacing him is Marco Canatelli. Marco Canatelli, one of the additions to the side tonight. Wasn't part of their squad last week. Can he and the other substitutes make an impact in these final few minutes as Brooks is in behind here for his second? Condolian does well and then follows up to send it out of play. Just under 12 minutes of normal time remaining here at JL Murphy Reserve. Game still very much up for grabs, but much closer to being in Port Melbourne's grasp than Moreland City. Here's Bombachi. Taking it down into the corner. Still manages to bend it across. Barber's just come on. This is his first touch. Won't quite be a goal, but he can keep it going. He sends it to Bombachi. Hangs it up to the back post. Condolian has safe hands. And now he sets it away. Sits up in the breeze as the sun sets over JL Murphy. Stay with us for this last 10 minutes or so. It's going to be a rollicking affair. And Leach goes flying in midfield, and now he does about 3 commando rolls. The referee is there, and there's a yellow card. And Diego Cuba is lucky it's just a yellow card. Fair to say Leach probably made the most of it, but it was still a pretty crude challenge there by Diego Cuba. I think a yellow card was given to a Port Melbourne player there too, maybe for some dissent. Leach is still on his back. It's been an attacking game, a free-flowing game, but he has occasionally been fractious as well. 4 yellow cards dished out now. No reds as yet. But I'll tell you what, Diego Cuba wouldn't want to do any more challenges like that, otherwise he could find himself getting a card of a different colour. Inside the final 10 minutes of normal time. Physio is seen to Charlie Leach, who's going to continue. I think Nick Marinos has exhausted all his substitutes, or maybe he has one more. Here is one of the substitutes, Barber, who very nearly wins it. Great free kick that floated in on the breeze, and Barber timed his run well, just couldn't quite time his shot well enough. That just bounced the wrong side. Miley. Thomas under pressure. The skipper does well to get it away. Now down the clubroom side is Tarjath. Just runs out of room. Chudiar Tarjath. 42 appearances and 4 goals for Moreland City. Barber. And now it's Cutter trying to get involved there. His first involvement since coming on, the number 7, Daniel Cutter. Another Queenslander from the Sunshine Coast. It's Edwards with the throw. Deep in the attacking third for Port Melbourne. Looking to wrap up the 3 points and their second consecutive win. They're still on course for it anyway, given they're ahead, but they want to make sure of it. Nice into play here, and Barber can make sure of it, and he does! The Port Melbourne bench clears as Jesse Barber, just minutes after coming on, scores what should be the sealer here at JL Murphy Reserve. The boy from Geelong is clearly a favourite with the locker room. You'd think he'd scored the winning goal in a FA Cup final with the celebrations there, so it's clearly a bit more meaningful than just any old goal. But it was a good finish, and Port Melbourne have done it tough at times tonight, but they've weathered the storm and they really should run out with the victory now. Port Melbourne 3, Moreland City 1, Jesse Barber on 82 minutes with a nice calm finish past Alex Condolian, and that should condemn Moreland City to 3 straight defeats to start the season. Those other 2 defeats have been 1-0 defeats. This one, they have shipped 3 goals. Moreland City. And who knows, Port Melbourne yet could rack up the goals late on with the breeze at their backs. They've got defending to do here, though, the Sharks. Rather than scoring goals themselves, Milanovic over his head, and now it's Barber. The whole half in front of him, he clips it out towards Cutter. Another one of the substitutes. Back towards Barber. I was about to say he's looked very assured since coming on Barber, then he misplaces his pass and puts it straight out of play. But he certainly has looked a very classy customer since coming on. And that goal was very nicely taken. Here's Tarjath, who's also given his team some energy since coming on. Can't quite get the ball in play here, though. Here's Tarjath again. Cuba. Barber. Ailey, though, just outpositions him. He's been close to Moreland City's best tonight. Nauman Ailey. Karamad. Just loses control in midfield, and it's another one of those trio of substitutes who came on. Messaruni, former Dandenong Thunder player. Now Edwards. Cutter was racing down the channel, but good intercept there by Miley. Two games in the NPL tomorrow. Oakley hosting Altona, and Dynamo St Albans hosting Dandy City. And then St Albans and Hume on Monday night as they try and score another one here. Port Melbourne, it's Barber again across the face of goal. Now Brooks coming in, wins the ball. Leach, back to Brooks. Bombachi, Leach again, inside the area. And the whistle is blown before Miss Rooney could get a shot off. And Moreland City hang on, but that was not far away from a fourth. And Jesse Barber not far away from a brace. A brace inside 10 minutes or so. Canaletti just led his man under the ball, and now he's scooting away. Have Moreland got a late goal in them? Just to give them something to go on with, if nothing else. They haven't scored all season coming into this game, so any goal they can score would be valuable for them. As Thomas floats in a ball, doesn't quite reach the target. Here's Ukano, he helps it on. Brooks. Galloping through midfield, Brooks. He's got Barber in support. What an impact those two have made. Barber back towards Brooks. Condolian beats him to it, though. The two super subs. Here's another substitute, Milanovic. Leach. Runs out of room. Port Melbourne bench think it came off the Moreland City player, but the referee thinks otherwise. And it is a throw for the visitors, and they'll get another one right below us. Aaron Shibia thought he was going to take the throw. Wasn't too pleased when he realised he wasn't. He's got the ball here, though. And now it's Ukano. Ukano across the face of goal. Tarjath was coming in and really should have got a second for the visitors to make it interesting, but he couldn't connect. It comes back in from the other side, though. Bombachi flicks it away. Canaletti. Canatelli, rather. He's a little pocket rocket, and he's certainly provided some energy to Moreland City since coming on. Here's Cutter. On towards Barber. Speaking of providing energy since coming on, Thomas dispossesses him. And it's out of play. But given all those substitutes, this game is really being played out at full pace. They're certainly not limping to the finish line, either of these teams. We're inside the final minute of normal time, but you wouldn't bet against there being another goal. Maybe for Moreland City. They've got it at the right end. And Ailey now will keep it down there as he wins the ball. Canatelli. And that ball is just a bit too long. And easy pickings for Shalamanov Trenkova. He's had a mixed evening. It was his mistake that led to the Moreland City goal, but he's made some good saves as well and also copped some bruises along the way. 4 minutes of stoppage time. So plenty of opportunities for either team. If Moreland City can get one, things could yet get interesting. And Aaron Chibi is away here. The keeper's off his line and the keeper does well. Denies the Chilean. whose eyes lit up there. He snuck in behind, the flag was down. And now it's Karamad over towards Ailey. Ailey, he might tee one up. His touch was just a bit heavy. Back to Miley. You've got to admire their effort here, Moreland City. They are having a real crack. And now it's Miley into the area. Here's Miley again. Aaron Shibia just doesn't quite fall room. Karamad is there though. Karamad twisting, turning. And Brooks is happy to slice that one clear straight into the path of the Moreland City coach, David Ostojic, willing his team on. Even if they can't get 3 points, or certainly not getting 3 points, even if they can't get a share of the points from here, even another goal would really give them a lift. Aaron Shibia had a frustrating evening, Chilean. Canatelli. And he hangs it up. Shamavalov has work to do and does it well. Bit of up there, Kazali from Shalomenov Trinkova. He certainly showed a very strong pair of hands. You won't want to ship another goal here tonight. Here's Canatelli. He's really been an energizer bunny down this near side since coming on. Certainly making a good impression. Auditioning for a starting place, and he goes down here, and they want a card here. The Moreland City bench. Canatelli writhing in pain. David Ostojic and all his assistants were up out of their seats, bellowing at the referee. And there will be a yellow card here. Looks like it's Andrew Mizruni who's gone into the book. And they've got another set piece here. We're well into stoppage time. Can Moreland City get a second goal and give themselves a puncher's chance? It's Diego Cuba to take it. His deliveries have caused trouble for the Port Melbourne defence all evening. That one doesn't. Brooks cuts it off and then just a bit lackadaisical, gives the ball away. Here's Ailey. And he gives it away to Barber, who goes from downtown. Saw Condolian off his line, but he wasn't going to catch him off it with that effort. Didn't have the juice. Nothing else. It's been a very entertaining night at the football here at JL Murphy Reserve. The final stage is playing out. And the crowd here, the good crowd here, will go home happy because Port Melbourne have had to work, but they have got the job done. It required two fantastic second half goals in order to get it done, particularly from Brooks, the substitute, who came on and scored an absolute beauty. About 10 minutes into the second half, he rifled one into the top corner to put Port Melbourne back in front after it was 1-1 at half time. And then another substitute later on, Jesse Barber, finished things off about 10 minutes from the end with a lovely, cool, calm finish that led to joyous celebrations on the Port Melbourne bench. They're a pretty happy team here at JL Murphy Reserve. A lot of change in the off-season, a lot of new faces, a new coach, but it seems to be gelling pretty well. That is 2 wins on the trot now for the Sharks, whilst Moreland City, they got their first goal of the season tonight through Fletcher Fulton, and they really should have got more in the rest of the first half when they had the breeze at their backs. They had opportunities, couldn't take them, and ultimately they slipped to another defeat, their third in a row at what looks like being a very long season. So, final score here at JL Murphy Reserve. It's finished Port Melbourne 3, Moreland City 1.